Hello everyone, I'm Jesus and welcome to the next episode of The Road to Old School MTG. I had previously done a few videos on a budget Erhnamgeddon deck, and then I updated it to be a green, white, and black version, and I managed to get some match videos of me using that deck. So before I go into the video, I want to first review the two versions of the budget Erhnamgeddon decks that I had from before, and then we'll get into the video. All right, so first of all, I built these two decks using the Mana Stack website. So this is the first version of the budget Erhnamgeddon deck, and this came up to exactly $100 with sideboard. Whenever possible, I used gold border versions of the cards, like the City of Brasses that were all gold border, because they go for around $4 to $5. Same thing with the Birds of Paradise gold border goes for around $5. Meteor's Factories were also gold border, so Spinning Slugs were the time shifter version, right? So and I try to find heavy played versions of cards, right? So whatever I could do to lower the price point of the deck, I did in order to get this deck to be $100. So I had made a video previously where I used this exact deck in a 4-person mini tournament. I got second place, so pretty good. Now this is the updated version with a higher price point. So this one was around $220 US dollars. So a bit over double the price. So same rule applies. City of Brasses are gold bordered. Meteor's Factories are gold bordered. Birds of Paradise are gold bordered to keep the price down. But where this price went up much higher, were in this row over here, the 2 land taxes and the 2 Sylvan libraries. They, I believe 4th edition or 5th edition, something like that. Those are the cheapest versions, and they go for like $20 to $30 each. So just between these 4 cards here, was almost well, maybe even $100 just between that, just those 4, right? So this new version, what I wanted to do is, the previous version had Juggernauts, which I felt were very weak, right? And susceptible to Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning. So this version added a new color, black, so I can instead change those 4 Juggernauts to 4 Derelors, and then also gave me access to Demonic Tutor and Mind Twist. This deck is a more traditional, other than the black, is more traditional Erhnamgeddon, where you do cast an Armageddon, you cast an Erhnam, you cast or something big, cast an Armageddon to follow it up, and then hopefully you had a land tax already, so that way when the opponent dropped 1 land, you could get 3 out of that. And then the Sylvan Library helps with that because it's a good combo. You search for 3 cards and then you reshuffle your deck, and then you look at 3 brand new cards that you select from the top of your library during the Sylvan Library activation. So this version is double the price, and this is what I have here for you today. Now going into the match. So here I mulliganed. I showed a little bit of my hand. I see an Erhnam, a Birds of Paradise. My opponent also showed his hand previously, but it wasn't very visible. First and for me, I just play a plains and I pass, right? So ideally, I would like to have a forest and then play that Birds of Paradise, but it looks like I did not have it. I'll try to keep track of life as much as I can. Unfortunately, the angle of this kind of dropped when we didn't notice. Okay, so that's a Black Lotus proxy. So he's cast a Soul Ring, used the Black Lotus for red, and then casting a Dragon Whelp. There's 1 red floating, so he's using it to pump the Whelp so that he doesn't get mana burn. Before the pump, I swords it. So, or maybe I did have a forest and then I chose to put a plains first. I'm not sure, right? So now my opponent gained 2 life. I play a Pendlehaven and a Burst of Paradise. My opponent plays a second force, casts a Whirling Dervish. I have 4 mana with the factory, and I cast a 3rd turn Erhnam. So I'm curving out pretty well here. Opponent plays another forest, so it seems like it's mono green. Plays a Pixies, cannot attack. So I give Forest Walk to his Pixie. Because I don't, and then that's the Forest Walk token. Because I don't want the Whirling Dervish to come in as unblockable and then it'll pump up over time. So I attack, he blocks with the Pixies, and then he Giant Grows, so they both trade. But I got a 2-for-1. So I still has 4 mana, and I cast a follow-up Erhnam. I play a Forest, and I cast a Llanowar Elves. Opponent drops a red, so that's so yeah, of course he's playing red because he cast the first turn Dragon Whoop. I forgot. My turn, Whirling Dervish gets the Forest Walk. I'm activating the. Okay, he's lightning bolting the. Okay, so he takes 4, 5. I pump with the Pendlehaven 6. I think this is the first damage he took. 6 damage. Okay, so he attacks. I decide not to block. I take 1, so I'm at 19, I believe. And then the Whirling Dervish gets 1+1+1 token.
I don't think I do. I think I'm too slow, too late.
My turn. I play a factory. I attack with, and I pump. So 4, 5, 6, 12, 13. So he says should be around 7 around now. So he's force walking with the Whirling Dervish because that's the only creature. I took 2. I'm at 17. He pumps up the Whirling Dervish. So once again, I'm attacking with everybody. 4, 5s. Okay, so that was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage. So I'm not sure how. Okay, but yeah, he must. Okay. So I'm not sure what happened there at the end. Maybe he was just casting stuff just to cast. But either way, I got the first game. So now we're going into game 2. Game 2. Okay, so he's showing he's got a Whelp, a Giant Growth, a red card, probably a Lightning Bolt. I'm showing, but you just saw the factory, unfortunately. So we need to practice that. So he went first, cast a tag, I believe. Then I go cast a Seed of Brass and a Birds. So second turn, he plays a Forest and casts another Dervish. So I'm at 19 from the City of Brass. I play a Factory. I swords the Dervish. He gains 1 life. He's at 21. He strips my Factory, and then he casts a Birds of Paradise. My turn. I play a Factory, and then I pass. So if I had that other Factory, may I have 4 mana, may I could have cast something, right? Because I have Darrowlores and Erhnams. 4 of each. Right, so he just passes my turn. I play a Forest, and then yep, I'm using the City of Brass. I'm at 18 for a Darrowlore. So if I didn't have the Darrowlores, this would have been a Juggernaut, right? And then my opponent's playing red, so he could have destroyed the Juggernaut. But the Darrowlore with 4/4 is not susceptible to that. So I attack. He takes the damage. He's at 17 because he gained 1 life from before. Ooh, I Armageddon. He bolts my bird in response. So I destroy 3 lands, but I play a forest and a bird to follow it up. So, but then, unfortunately, he gets a Taiga or whatever that dual land is. I'm not familiar with too much with that dual land because I don't play it. Right, so I play a planes. I attack 17. He should be at 13. I play a Soul Ring. He casts a Pixies. Should be at 9 now. So I attack with the Durlor at 9. I play a Elf. So right now I'm pretty good. I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. So opponent just passes. Looks like plays a mountain. Okay, so Giant grows, and then in response, so he already blocked and he growthed it, but in response I'm sourcing, so he's only going to gain 2 life out of that. So it goes up to 11, I believe. So he's thinking if he can do something in reaction to that. I guess he could. No, it's a sword, so he cannot do anything unless he wants to pump it again. No, but he has a right only. So yeah, goes to 11, I believe. But at least the third already got blocked. I paid 2 for a Sylvan Library. So my opponent draws, Whelp, Berserk, and then 2 other cards. The Giant grows. So he just needs creatures. So my turn. So I have a library out. So I just get 1 card. I think I'm at 18 or something. I'm pretty high. So honestly, I think this was a mistake. I should have paid at least 4 life for 1 extra card, just so I can cycle through the deck faster. So this is important because that is a 2/3 creature, so he can block every creature except my Derelor. So I wanted to come in with the Pixie and the Elf, and of course the Derelor, but now I cannot. I can only come in with the Derelor. So yeah, now I'm paying the 4. So 10, 11, I should be like around 13. I attack, he blocks, and then he grows it. So my Derelord dies because his creature is a 5/6 creature, I believe.
5/6 now.
So yep, he keeps it, and then I still can attack with my rest of my guys because his creature's a 2/3. So he has a Mox. Now he can cast a Dragon Whelp. So now that's a flyer, so he can come up from the sky. So my Sylvan Library here, it is giving me options, but if I don't get threats, then it doesn't matter too much. So I believe I'm around 13 or something like that. So I should pay another 4 life, but I don't. I just get 1 card, it seems. So I get a factory, so that's good. I can go wide, but my opponent's at 11, I believe. So you can just go attack. I cannot block.
I'll take it. Any pumps? Take 2.
Doesn't pump because he's going to cast another one. So I'm at 11, I believe. So, and now I can't really pay the 4 life because that would take me to 7. He could attack and then pump, and then I would die. So I have to only keep 1. I keep 1. So my deck does have 2 Serra Angels, right? But and he didn't. We were playing quickly in between games, so we didn't sideboard. But I don't think I have anything special against flyers, so it wouldn't have mattered much. I don't think. So here I'm trying to attack. So he's blocking with. So neither one of them die, but I have a trick. So I have no direct damage or pumps. But this is the best that I came up with. So Armageddon, all the lands get destroyed, and then the Kurdape turns into a 1/1. And he already took 2 damage from before, so now it dies because of that. And then he He only has a Mox Ruby and the birds to pump up the Dragon Whelps. So it buys me sometimes. So I take 4. So I believe I'm at 7, something like that. So now he can attack and pump 3 times. So that would be 7 damage. Exactly. But I have a Birds of Paradise, so I can block 1. Okay, so attack for 1 damage. So this game I had a Darrellor, but I think that's the only big creature I had. I didn't get a Sarah, and I don't think I had any Erhnams. So I think this was what's wrong with the second game. I just didn't get enough big threats, and then he had like cast like 3 whelps in this turn. That's hard to beat. Okay, so I block 1. He pumps the one I blocked, and then he berserks it. That gets a trample. So no matter how I cut it there, it just it's a loss for me. So I won the first one, he won the second, but unfortunately, like I said, we were playing in between a quick game in between another game, tournament that we were having, so we didn't go into game 3 here. But I think that shows the potential of the deck. So the first game I won pretty handily, even though my opponent was using dual lands as Berserks, Moxes, Black Lotus, right? So he was playing a standard old school deck that's not restricted by budgets, right? Even though he was playing with some proxies, he does own those cards, except as we create different decks, we don't want to be swapping those same cards over and over, right? So proxies have their place. And that's one of the big reasons why we would want to have proxies to allow us to use cards that we have in multiple decks and not have to swap them out all the time. Okay, so yeah, that second game, I think I only got 1 Darrellor, didn't get any other big creatures, if I'm not mistaken, right? So I got a 7 library in the second game, so it was working fine, and then I definitely used I drew an extra card at least once. But I just didn't get lucky, and that should have helped me to cycle through my deck quicker and get a threat quicker, right? So I do like that aspect of the Sylvan Library, that theoretically it should help me to get something big faster. I was able to ramp up pretty well. The ramp was nice. I was able to cast turn 3 Erhnam. It didn't seem that either game I was having difficulty casting things in terms of not having the right mana, right? So that's where the City of Brass really helped. The black cards that I have here, I only have 5 from lands. I only have 5 ways of casting those. So for City of Brass, I only have 1 swamp. The reason I have 1 swamp is if I get 1 activation from the land tax, I could get that swamp and put it into play. And then, of course, the birds also help out to provide me with that black, right? So adding the black seemed okay. But maybe the best thing to do, but I do worry about the black. So I'm thinking maybe a combination of the two would be another option for those who are interested. You can definitely do the first option here. This is the cheapest, $100. And I got second place against people who were not restricted by any budget. So it did very well. This version that you just saw, this was just a casual game, but against a deck that was very well powered. It won 1, it lost the second, but I was close on the second, and I just got unlucky. So it does show its potential as well. So honestly, either way could work. Me, I kind of like a little bit of both. So what I would do now, if I had a way, if I would update this a third time, I would take out the black, only because I'm just afraid of not having the right amount of, I'm afraid of thinning out the deck so much, because with no dual lands, I'm relying way too much on the City of Brasses to give me the 3 colors. And of course, the birds help as well. The ramp that this deck naturally has is also useful because since I Armageddon, that's the goal of the deck. That helps me to rebuild after an Armageddon, right? So the deck has a really the purpose is really well-rounded, right? So things that help for one thing also help with something else, right? So it's a nicely designed deck, but I do worry about the 3 colors. So I would keep it more close to the first version where it's just green and white, but I would add the land tax and the Sylvan Library in there. Since I cannot have the Duralors here, because if I took out the black, then that would have to, by default, make me keep the Juggernauts, which I'm not too happy about. I could get Suchis, but Suchis are at least $50 each, or at least around that $40 to $50 for the cheapest heavy played versions, right? So just getting 1 or 2 is already bumps up another 100. And if the point of this is to keep a budget, so I may have to just keep the Juggernauts, but another option could be adding Giant Growths to the deck to get around that that aspect of the Juggernauts being susceptible to direct damage. So that's another option. Maybe I go with that, maybe not. But in general, that's what I'm feeling. I'll see if I can get more practice with this second version that has black. So maybe after playing it a bit more, I change my mind and I decide that black is fine. Having that extra color is fine. But based on what we saw, it is working, and it worked pretty well against an opponent that had dual lands, Moxes, a Black Lotus. If I had gone to that game 3, who knows what could have happened. But based on the 2 games, at the very least, I had a fighting chance. And considering this is a $220 deck, for the whole deck with the sideboard, that's not even the price of 1 dual land, or maybe the cheapest dual land, for you to compare the 2. Okay, so I think with this one, at least you can see, you saw it in action, and then you can come up to your own conclusions about which version you like best, or if it inspired you to kind of come up with your own, make a combination of the 2 or whatnot. But hopefully you saw how budget builds are very much an option in old school. This is something that me personally, when I started, I knew about budget builds, quote unquote, knew about it, but honestly, I'd never considered it because old school implies, well, you gotta have Moxes, you have to have Black Lotus, you have to have dual lands, or else it's not even worth playing, right? So that I also had that thought about joining old school, and I want to just dispel that. Of course, you can go that route. I did, but I thought that was the only way you could do it and still have fun, right? So basically, I didn't think the budget decks would be fun. Of course, I could play old school, but I didn't want to just play. I wanted also to be competitive and win, because to me, that's a part of the fun. And I just didn't see budget decks being able to compete. But as you are seeing now with these series of budget Erhnamgeddon budget builds that I'm making, that is definitely a possibility for you to make something that's cheap, a whole deck that's worth less than 1 dual land, one of the cheaper dual lands, and be competitive and beat players with dual lands and Moxes and Black Lotuses. Thank you for watching.